Yeah, our church has got a camp there.
Do they?
And so I've gone up and led kids camps there, taking kids up to Boundary Waters. That's where we store our canoes and stuff. So we went to Boundary Waters twice with groups.
I went there once myself.
Yeah.
That's this church. Wow. That's fun.
Well, that's what we did. Was maybe Cal Peterson might have led yours. You know,
he was from Salem. The guy that
I see.
He was a pastor. Salem. He had a big old school bus and a big trailer full of canoes. He pulled.
Okay, we got 9 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mockler.
Here.
Packard.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Manning.
Here.
Hammond.
Here. Any conflict of interest declarations? Hearing none. Approval of agenda.
Move to approve.
Okay. Second.
Are we in tune, sort of?
Full redundancy.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Hammond.
Yes.
Manning.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Packard.
Yes.
Mockler.
Yes. Motion passes. Approve minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Hammond.
Yes.
Manning.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Packard.
Yes.
Mockler.
Yes. Motion passes. Are there any visitors to be heard? Hearing none. Rod? We've got bid recommendations that were opened last week.
Everybody look at the recommendations I had and any questions. I put down some of the stuff in that Beagle County.
Microphone for Rod.
Just take it.
You're going to have to stand.
Take it.
You couldn't hear him, Phyllis?
Well, I could hear the fourth, about 3 words and then lose 3. So
Okay, is this better?
it's lovely. Thank you.
Okay, and if you had a chance to look at the recommendations, pretty much same way I give them to you every year, but I did put down in that Beetle County packet some of the things that are in there that we didn't specifically bid just because they're in that packet. Metal culverts, cutting edges and stuff, those steel bridges sections that we put up. So just curious if you had any questions on anything, or did you find any incorrect numbers?
So did stuff go up quite a bit?
You know, the metal pipes aren't much more than they were last year. They are like a couple bucks a foot, which I guess is quite a bit, but not the way everything else is going up. And this year, Beetle County put wordage in there that they have to let us know if they're going to raise their prices in the middle of the year like they did last year.
Oh, wow.
So, and actually, you know, I reacted like all the other superintendents did, and we didn't end up buying only one pipe after that increase anyway. Just we didn't need them and we had them on hand. Now, I still have quite a few on hand, so because since 19, the next year we bought quite a bit, which turned out that was a good deal.
Right.
Because we got them at a cheaper price. So
And
we still try to pass that along as much as we can, you know, keep them at last year's pricing and whatever, unless they have to order something new. Like Garfield's thinking about ordering a couple big ones, and so that, and they get billed right directly to them, so they'll have to pay new prices, but
What about asphalt? Did that go up a lot?
not really.
I thought we were in the 60s.
Some of
last-
it is like Sioux Falls or at I think it was Merle and Roy's and Concrete Materials. A couple of those were $50, but we don't use that mix anymore. So these are, I'd say $5 a ton. But the one in Yankton, that went up $4 a ton, but they have to haul all the aggregate to Yankton from Sioux Falls. So I'm sure fuel costs for that. And actually Barclay, I believe, is like $1 is only $1 more.
Really?
So yeah, there's increases all the way through there. A road sealer, you know, for mastic and crack sealing. The one that I was really surprised about is the concrete pipe, and one company went up quite a bit and the other company, I think they're 50 cents to $1 from last year. Last year we awarded the other company it, so I don't know what went on there, but you can see there's quite a bit of difference. After you get past the 24 inches, it gets quite a difference.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are my recommendations. We only had one bidder for the crane. I believe everything else had. And I listed what they give us under Holloway's for, I believe Travis read it off to that day, so. But that's my recommendations that we award to these and highlighted.
I move to accept the superintendent's recommendations.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, one, I did. Every year, we accept all the asphalt bids. In case we're working on the west side of the county, we go to Yankton. If we're down by Burbank, we go to Sioux City. And up on the northeast corner, and sometimes these other plants break down. So we gotta have a place to go, so. And so I've always accepted all of them, whichever one's most works better for us. Plus the road sealer, I accepted both of those bids just because last year it was hard to get this stuff. So I don't, and we only had one bidder last year, so.
Okay.
I just want to make sure we're able to get the materials. That's all.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Packard,
Yes.
Mochler.
Yes, motion passes. Do you need these, Rod, or does Carrie keep
I
them?
was just gonna ask Carrie, do you make a copy of the acceptance letter for your file too? Or do, because there's a couple of them you have to sign, he has to sign, some of them
Yeah,
he just signs. Do you want to,
yeah, I
so he-
usually keep a copy with the bids.
so if he signs them and then you can sign them and give me a copy back and you
Sure.
can keep the original? Do you want me to mail them back or you want to send them back? Don't make any difference. We can mail them back.
I can mail them back, that's
Okay,
fine.
because, and then there's also a copy of they give us 2 of these books for the Beetle County, and that should be, oh, no, it's right here. There's nothing to sign on these, so if you want to do it that way, he's
Sure.
got the pile there to sign.
Okay,
So we'll sign these later then.
Let me get it. Let me put it all in. So I don't take some of these other ones that don't need signatures or weren't accepted.
Okay. Resolution to delete structure, resolution 2022-05.
Yeah, this is a bridge we tore out. I thought we already had done this and so did Pier, but they don't have it on record. So this is the structure east of Bethel Hall. We took the bridge out and put 2 pipe in it, so it no longer meets the criteria for a bridge to, or a structure to be inspected. It's shorter than 20 feet. So then they take it off the list and
What about the one south of Bethel?
that one, when we get it done, I told them it's out. It won't need to be inspected this year. But until I get it completed, then we'll have to do a deletion because it'll be the exact same thing we got on the Volun Oil on that gravel road. And you both got to sign that, so Carrie can do that whenever.
Okay.
If you, I mean, there's nothing there anymore to be inspected, so
Yeah.
just one of those red tape things.
Okay, move to approve resolution 2022-05.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith,
yes,
Packard,
yes,
Mochler.
Yes, motion passes. Anything else for Rod?
Yeah, no calendar in here. What is, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, I think it's the last Monday of the month. Say like the 27th or something,
28th?
28th.
Well, the 21st. I mean, next Monday is the 14th and we got the 21st.
Okay, so the 21st, we're gonna go back to our 4 10-hour days if the weather, you know, unless we got snow coming. And then we kind of do that all the way through April. Looks like we're gonna be plowing snow on the weekend. Everybody just comes in 8 hours. We changed the sign on the door. But in the past, we haven't had to do it. So, but we're gonna go back to that next week. It's supposed to be pretty nice, but got the load limits on, so we're kind of limited to what we can do too, so. But that's it.
Anybody have anything else for Rod? Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a motion to go into ditch board.
Move to go into ditch board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Or roll call?
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith, Packard,
yes,
Mochler.
Yes, we're in ditch board. Prairie Center bid openings. So we've got one from Gregoire Excavating for $21,800. Weeman Construction, $24,400. This one's from 3D Digging. I don't know how we're gonna do this. He wrote in there for 3D digging, he wrote in partial cleaning of Prairie Center ditch estimate. Proposed to do the ditch cleaning at the various sites for the cost of $3 a foot. We propose to do tree removal at various sites for the cost of $12,000. There's no, I don't know how many feet he's doing.
Well, he was gonna do 3 miles. They were estimating 3 miles. Because
Okay.
Tim, I think Tim's by the foot. Did it? Tim got a foot rate? Thought he had a foot rate.
$1.25.
Yeah.
So 3 miles, 52.60, 52.80 a mile, right?
Yeah. He's gonna be about 27,000.
Not if you're gonna do 3 miles, it's gonna be about 47,000 on just the cleaning,
Okay.
plus
Yeah.
12,000.
Plus
for the
12,
trees.
okay, yeah, you're right.
It's 47,520.
Well,
So roughly a total bid of 60,000, 59 something.
okay.
There's no multipliers in either of the other two then.
Tim's using a buck, he's using.
Tim
around
used
$1.
$1.25.
Yeah,
Take out trees and pile in fields at $2,000. He, Tim has cleaned out approximately 15,840 feet of ditch at $1.25. Weeman he didn't break it down.
when we talked to him, I think we basically told him that we estimated it was gonna be around 3 miles. I'll clean out, and then the trees would be separate. One way or the other.
And this one's Pullman Excavating. He is 25,871. So. Yeah, not too bad. What's in Prairie Center for money?
We got like 32, I think,
Yeah,
so we got enough to do it.
So of these four, Gregoire is the cheapest at 21.8.
I recommend taking Greg Rides.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Packard,
Yes.
Mochler.
Yes, motion passes. Mike, did you want to get a hold of him or?
yeah, I'll give Tim a call.
Okay.
Because I was thinking it was last week. Tim called me and then we moved it to this week. Tim called me about twice. I said, no, it's not until this coming week.
Hmm.
But I was glad to see 4 bids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
that was very nice to see. And the guys were they come out, you know, actually I had one other guy call, that guy that lives down here on the bottom. Cook, yeah. He did contact me, but I mean, having 4 bids was really good to see.
I sent out 8 letters, I believe.
Mhm.
So that's it.
Yeah, and every one that, you know, because everyone that contacted me said they had gotten a letter, so the letters got through to them. Sounds good. Thanks, by the way.
Yeah, I have a question on that Prairie Center ditch.
Mike,
You're off.
I'm sorry, I thought I actually just switched it off. On the Prairie Center ditch, that bang wall
Yeah,
burned up.
yeah,
Who was that, the REA?
yeah. Joe, I talked to Joe Hubert, and he said that they were going to, because I didn't know it was burned until I went with Mike Pullman that day to look at the thing, and whoa. He said that the IRA Clay Union brought out some poles. But I thought the township was going to get a hold of you guys to
Well,
get some.
They did, and that's what I was curious, is that, does that get billed to the Prairie Center ditch? Does that get billed to the township, or how does that, who?
I don't know. I'll talk to Joe.
Okay, because Larry's been talking to Al up at REA, and I don't know if they're waiting for the frost to go out or what to dig them poles back in, but so I didn't know if if we had to bill the REA, if they were the cause for the fire, or we didn't know what happened.
I guess they were the cause for the fire.
I
It sounded like
thought-
they had a pole go down and touch the wires. And-
To the west of
Yeah,
theirs, yeah.
Yeah, that's what Mike told me, Mike Pullman, because he said it just, and the wind just caught it, it burned about half of that, from what I can see.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to they're gonna have to pull all the poles off the plank Larry didn't think the plank were gonna survive
Right.
what's still left, but I was
Okay.
just curious if you were aware of it even, so.
You know, I hadn't been until that day. I happened to go with him. I said, what happened here? And he said, well, they had a fire here. Cause he's on the fire department in Wakanda.
Right.
He said they had a fire there. Cause they were lucky it didn't kept. He said the wind was out of the. He said the wind could have took it to the west that day. But it didn't take it. That's what he said. I didn't know. So anyhow, yeah, I'll find out. I'll let you know.
Okay, yes, no big deal. We got the plank that we already measured up what
Okay.
we need, so
Okay.
it's used plank, but. And then at the ditch meeting, and I thought I wrote it down, but I can't find it, whatever. Calvin Hansen brought up that there was something to be done yet on the clay inked ditch. I think it was west. Was it
Yeah.
the clear west end?
Yeah,
Yes.
clear west end, right at the county line, going east 1 mile, I think.
1 mile east, okay. And I looked for that note and I couldn't find it, and I see we're on ditch board today. So it was something about removing trees, if I
Yeah.
remember right. Okay.
Yeah,
And did you go down and look where they did in the creek by Karen's?
no, I didn't.
Looked pretty good.
Good, good.
I mean,
Our efforts were
Yeah.
worth it.
yeah, and I think they left everything we didn't mark, so,
Yeah.
but, okay, that's all I was wondering.
Anybody have anything else for ditch board? Take a motion to come out.
Move to come out of ditch board.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith,
yes.
Packard,
Yes,
Mochler.
Yes, we're in regular session. Lane, drone policy.
Okay, hopefully you all received it. At least glance through the book of civil liberties regulations.
Yes.
But just so you know, there have been a couple changes since then. Nothing major. Caitlin from State's Attorney's Office, after so many times of proofreading it, she found 3 typos that I didn't catch. So I've corrected those. And then also the records thing, I've put a reference to my own website on that. So
So any new changes are just form and style.
yes. Yep.
So,
Yeah, nothing of any substance. So I guess what I'm looking for is the approval of the commission to accept the policy and then appoint myself as the program manager of it. And I will answer any questions you may have. And with Alexis sitting here, anything legal she may be able to reference. I will say, I think I caught it all. This was a checklist provided by FEMA, and they did reference Virginia state law for some of their things. So I had to find corresponding South Dakota state law. And I think I accomplished that. And Caitlin didn't find anything not correct. So I think we're good there.
Does this policy pertain to Dennis at all, or is this just for when you?
I'm going to say it only pertains to me at the moment.
Okay, good.
Even though he is listed as a pilot in this manual.
Yeah, because I think he added one more. I think Corey has got his requirements met, I believe. I'm not sure about that, but so they did the online thing or something.
Dennis did.
Dennis did, not Corey.
For your first time, you still have to go in person.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he hasn't done it.
So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Well, this is an epic policy. It's very, very detailed, and so I move approval and appointment of Lane as the program manager.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Packard,
Yes,
Mochler.
Yes, motion passes.
Just for Betty's and everybody's thing, since you got the PDF version, you didn't see the Word things in there. There was 5,645 minutes of editing on that. So it was a rough 3 weeks. 95 hours it took. So okay. And then I guess up next is the records stuff. I did not mean it to cause controversy, but it has. So I think I will go off of Alexis's thing because I have no problem with putting a hold on it for the thing. I think we really truly need to have a department head meeting about it. I will adopt it for my office because I have to have something, and I will keep it as Carrie as the contact for it because I have no way to invoice, collect, and track payments legally. So I need to have somebody be able to do that. And I agree with, and Alexis is sitting here just waiting to pounce. I can feel it. And I agree with some of the things. This was never intended to be for daily business. So if somebody wants to come in and get their accident report, they can still do that. They don't have to go through the auditor's office. And I have no problem with each office determining whether or not it's daily business or records. Legally, I don't know how that works out. I just use state law to create this. So again, I wasn't trying to push anything on to anybody else. It's just I needed a policy, and I figured if the county doesn't have one, we can create one. But anyway, if I will volunteer to remove it from the agenda and put it on hold until further discussion is had.
So the fees that you're showing on the one that you're going to use
Was completely made up in my head.
okay.
It was just there as a example.
Okay.
It wasn't, that's what I think it needs to be.
Okay.
And actually the listing of stuff was stolen from Lincoln County's thing. In today's world, nobody uses CDs anymore. It should be a thumb drive. You know, those kinds of things. The FTP part is Dropbox. Something that you can put up temporarily, let them download it, take it off. So it's not accessed to any networks or anything like that. So again, I'll let Alexa speak because I think she's got time.
Sounds good. Well, thank you. So my thought on this is I really like the idea of just maybe changing this to Freedom of Information Act policies and procedures for Office of Emergency Management or something. And then Lane can tweak this to fit his department. I think it's going to be really difficult to create a comprehensive county-wide policy that addresses all the different offices because there are so many different needs, so many different requirements. You know, definitely department head meeting if we're going to go through that process of, and I think this is going to take some real contemplation on the part of each department, even for ourselves to contemplate what does that look like? Because I am concerned that someone could later cite to this policy when they're making a request for what I'm going to call some routine business that each of us are going through. And I definitely don't want this to, impede progress. I know one of the things I talked to Andy, and he wasn't able to be on the meeting today, but did specifically talk to him. It's just not practical nor feasible for all of the requests for information that his office gets. I'm going to lump mine into that to go through Carrie. I mean, that won't work for them. That won't work for us. I think we need to, if this is going to be, and I just want to make sure we're cognizant of what language we use about, when it says request for public records must be made directly to the Clay County Auditor's Office. I'm not certain that we have distinguished that. Like I would interpret that to mean all requests for records. And then I think we need to get a little more fine-tuned on how we're going to go about that. The digital requests. And one of the other questions I had for Lane this morning, and I'm springing this on him this morning. Obviously I didn't get this out there sooner, but just some practical things up within our own policy. Are each of the departments able to comply with what we're putting forward here? And if there's going to be folks out there that's like, this isn't practical and I'm not going to do this, we shouldn't implement a policy that we're not actually going to adhere to. That's going to create problems for us. So like the digital downloads, one of my requests was, does everybody have access to that? Are they going to be able to provide that? So Dropbox, we don't use anymore. We used to do that, but we have our own mechanism and it's through Ignite. And that's exactly how we disseminate discovery to Defense Council. And we can put password protections on those and those types of things. So, and one of the reasons we went that route was in coordination with Erickson, specifically identifying that this is a better safety and security mechanism for those things than Dropbox. I know the sheriff's office, we receive reports and requests from them via Zerker in a similar fashion. So, I mean, I think that, but I don't know that other departments will necessarily be able to disseminate some of their information that way. Is there a color printer? I said, well, I mean, our office has one, but I couldn't print off, say, plats for other people. And so I just think this is something that this is going to be a cumbersome, time-consuming, multi-meeting deal if we're going to create something for the county. Maybe not necessarily one that we shouldn't. And then of course, I'm going to chime in my 2 cents of, hey, let's shorten this up and just reference the statutes instead of listing. And I know there's competing theories on that. When you list in all the exceptions, it's a good thing because people know then and are on notice of, you don't get this, you don't get that. These are not subject to public records. But if statute gets updated, then we have to make sure we update our policy. So I just think, but I also understand that Lane needs this when it comes to things like his drone policies and those types of things. So if he's got requirements he needs, I really like the idea of, your office and what you can and can't do and how you can go about it. And then if we're going to work towards a goal of things, we need to sit down as department heads and really talk about some of these fees, maybe make a reference to anything that's not otherwise statutorily set. These are the fees. But I really want to mold that over from my standpoint of what would it take my office to put together a massive record request on things? How much should we be charging for that? And what is that? And it's probably going to be, it might be different than Carrie's office, or I was thinking of some statutory set, and granted it goes to the Secretary of State, but when you ask for voter lists, those things are going to be a flat fee that we don't control. So anyway, I just think it needs some discussion from department heads, but I don't want to stifle progress of what Lane needs to go forward. So I like the idea of he knows what his office needs and go from there.
So can we write it that way? I mean, we cite state statute of what we have to do. And then each department in our policy handbook, each department has what their department is going to do price wise.
I asked that, and I don't know if Alexis is saying, I returned her email this morning and just said, legally, can we say prices vary by department?
I would list it. I mean, if we need to update it, then we update it, right?
Well,
or what?
I mean, my only thing is, I think there's also going to be some differences in how departments go about things. So like, I mean, and kind of coming full circle to then how are we implementing that, and how is the money chain going? There's going to be, I get on the regular, I bet it's a couple to a handful a week, sometimes more, depending on the week, sometimes less, of FBI records requests. Now I understand that we're going to say, hey, that's outside the scope of this. But I guess my point is like, because there is exceptions for intergovernment deals, those types of things. I'm going to respond to those, and nobody ever is going to, I mean, I'm going to tend to that. Same with Andy's office. It doesn't make sense for I don't want to say any records request to his office to go through Carrie's office, but maybe any records requests to go through Carrie's office for his office. And then there are times where we're not going to charge a fee for that. You know, I'll give another example of that. Victims on a case. If a victim's attorney requests records from us, in many cases, we don't have victims attorneys, but those are things where we're going to have a working relationship of, hey, I'd appreciate your client not seeing, you know, this, while our case is pending, but victims have certain rights and it's within our discretion to turn those things over. What does that look like from a cost standpoint? You know, I'm not going to bill defense counsel. We wouldn't, because we're going to do that record sharing deal, but I don't really want to, I want to think about this. I want to contemplate this. And I don't really like the idea of even putting fees depending on what it is. I'm trying to contemplate what records our office would have to produce and how much it would cost and those types of things. So I think it's just really a case by case basis. And I shudder to put, I don't know, Travis, I guess I can't answer that without having each of us as department heads sit down and really discuss what that looks like for our office and spend some time thinking about that.
So like for your office, though, state statute dictates what you have to release, right?
Yes, but like I'll use my office as an example. So the lion's share of the records we have are either going to be, the official record is going to be on file with the clerk of courts. And that's where I would reference people to go obtain an official copy of a filed document. 2, law enforcement reports. Anything on pending cases, nobody's getting access to because we don't release that. And by statute, we don't have to. 3, if it's concluded cases, I don't like releasing those things anyway, because I'm saying, hey, I'm not going to be the depository of record for every single individual agency. You go make the request to that agency for the law enforcement report you want. And so then we really start parsing back what can people make a request to our office for? Other policies or things for the county are going to go through Carrie's office anyway. And so those aren't things that are coming to me. So,
I mean, you've got a very short list of what you can or have to release.
mm-hmm.
So whatever you have to release, you have to release, and whatever you don't have to release, you don't. You just don't.
And then, but then begs the question of, I really got to contemplate what would be released from our office and how much does it cost to produce those things? And I think those things aren't necessarily just an easy answer either, because you know, you're envisioning those large requests. And I get that that's kind of Lane's point to this is meant for those, somebody says, I want all copies of whatever you have for the last 5 years on this. Well, you're going to need an employee to sit there and search through records to try to identify those things. And that takes time. So it isn't just the physical 5 pages in the end that you print, it's the hours worth of time that's spent combing through to identify we've caught everything through a Freedom of Information request.
So a minimum of $100 an hour.
I mean, I just don't know. But I want to have that conversation. There are other departments that this could happen to far more regularly, and they're like, no problem. We get that all the time. So I think it's going to be hard to come up with one policy for everyone and then contemplate what those fees require. If it's required of us, I mean, and there is something to be said for this, and usually we've dealt with it on a case-by-case basis. Somebody gets a letter, we need all of this, and we respond with, this is what it's going to cost to produce it. I think that's how we've done it, Carrie, in the past. And then frequently, by the time you identify that to them in response, many times they say, actually, I don't want it. But there are other avenues that, you know, Lisa's or Andy's office or somebody, and they have statutory set fees that they collect, and it's a regular part of their process and their work that they do.
Okay. Do you have a plan for the next department head meeting, when that might be?
The next scheduled one would be in April. We can always schedule one sooner.
That's not that far away.
We can probably table it till then, I would think.
I think, yeah, well, he's offered to pull it off, because I don't know how long to table it for, because it's gonna take more than one meeting.
Yeah, and I understand all the concerns, and like I said, I needed one and the county doesn't have one, so I wrote one. And I absolutely understand Alexis's concerns. It's very clear in my mind. It's just it's explaining it to everybody else, because it never was intended, or I did not intend it for if somebody wanted their accident report to go to the auditor's office, or a copy of their birth certificate to go to the auditor's office.
Right.
It's for that person who wants every birth certificate from 2010 through 2020, you know, and fills out the form to do that. So I don't know. And after I looked at it, after Alexis's thing this morning, I think it will be very wordy at best to distinguish what's daily business and what's a large amount of data. So,
but you have something for your office written now?
I will convert this over to my office. I'll take any reference to the county off. It'll be to Clay County OEM. My only thing is I still request Carrie to receive them, because like I said, I have no legal way to handle and track money for the county. So I need somebody who can do that.
So we can just approve that on
the
22nd.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because we have a meeting on the 22nd, so.
Okay, yes,
It's
I'll be here for the
different
burn, I'll be here for the burn ban reading anyway, so, yep.
Okay.
I'll revamp it for myself and send it back out to Carrie.
And that works well for Carrie, take it.
Anything else from Lane?
I think so. Okay.
Thank you. Did everybody get to see the vouchers?
Did you all see the email I sent this morning about the one extra one for $9?
Yep,
Yeah.
I did.
Move to approve the vouchers.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith,
yes.
Packard,
Yes,
Mochler.
Yes, motion passes.
I have one other thing on that subject too. Since we're meeting on the 22nd instead of the 29th, that will be before payroll and it'll be earlier than our typical voucher schedule. How do you guys want us to handle that? Do you want us to just go ahead and do things, or just pay the payroll deduction vouchers and wait on the rest till the 29th? How do you want us to do that?
Well, I'm kind of hoping we don't have a meeting on the 29th.
Yeah, we'd substitute, right?
Yeah, on the 22nd.
So then you would hold off those vouchers until the first meeting in April.
5th of
then.
April. Does that
Okay.
work? I mean, is that gonna?
I mean, it can. There might be some due dates in there that.
We should be up to date. I mean, if you wanted to bring the vouchers up to date to the 22nd, whatever we've got then there won't be
Okay.
anything. Nothing should be late anyway.
Okay.
If we can do that.
And then we'll do the rest the first meeting in April.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we had some zoning. Drew thought that was the last Tuesday of the month. So we're just gonna kind of move everything to that day and hopefully not have anything on the 29th.
Are we doing something on Friday then?
Yes, this Friday.
Okay.
This
Okay.
Friday is meeting with Dick Strasberg, Beckenhauer, and what's
JLG
there you go.
BWBR.
So we've got that meeting and then on the 22nd instead of the 29th.
Yes.
Right.
Now, nothing says we won't have another meeting in there because we're trying to get figured out how The ballot's gonna be written. Well, you have it written. We just gotta figure
I
out
have
the dollar
everything
amount.
ready. Bond council has already looked at it and approved it. We just literally have to fill in the dollar amount. So.
And I'll be gone the 22nd. I'm leaving this weekend and I won't be back until, I was hoping to be back in time for the 29th meeting if we had that, but but I can get in from Zoom.
Okay, but you're here Friday?
Friday I'll be here, yeah.
Okay.
At 9?
No.
3.
3.
3 o'clock.
Yep.
I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, we did 3 o'clock because Dick was tied up in the morning, and it gives Beckenhauer and, you know, the architecture team a good, you know, half a day basically extra, since we're already kind of pushing deadlines. So.
Department monthly reports. Did everybody get to see those? Okay. The only thing for joint jurisdiction is we have the meeting tonight at 5:30 at City Hall.
Is that a Zoom also or no?
Which one?
Tonight, I don't think the city does Zoom.
But I had a kind of a question on the ordinance 2022-02. The grain terminal, is that just the one on East Main, or is that the one below the hill too? That grain terminal down there, are you trying to?
So we're changing this is the second reading of moving grain terminals from heavy industrial into light industrial for the zoning.
So is that both?
Well, which one? Well,
that's
I'm
just the one
on Dawson Road, or just one on?
That's just
Cherry?
the one below
Okay.
Hillside Church.
well, whichever is going to be in joint jurisdiction is what this
Yeah, it's all joint.
So
jurisdiction.
which one are you talking about?
Well, the only reason I was wondering is
Talking about the old farmer's elevator.
the one down below the hill.
So that's
you know,
in
the
city limits.
fertilizer and,
That's in city limits, so that'll be separate from this.
okay, because when we put up load limits, we've always, since they rebuilt that road, put the bridge in, that road does not get a weight limit. That was back in the day. That one and the one that goes to the landfill was, you know, not to be posted, and I didn't know what was happening below the hill. I mean, it's too late this year to change it if we need to change it, but I mean, it's nothing going on anyway, but just to keep the state up to date, because they did ask me about why that road, the landfill road, is not on our posting list. I told them, they said, that's fine. They just apparently didn't have any record. I didn't know if that was gonna affect that one down below the hill or not, so.
No, this won't, because this is
Okay.
just everything outside the city limits in that joint jurisdiction area.
Okay, then I don't care if it's a Zoom or not.
And then all it's changing is that it's allowed in a light industrial area, and it doesn't have to be heavy industrial, so it doesn't affect the operation or anything.
I have a question on the cell tower part. That's changing it to agriculture, correct? Not to
Correct,
industrial.
correct.
Okay.
Because I think currently it's in commercial,
Right.
and they're moving it to agriculture because one of the other broadcast towers are allowed in the agriculture area. They're just trying to make it similar.
Mhm.
So. I don't have anything else for joint jurisdiction. I'm speaking at Rotary tomorrow. Yay.
I was gonna ask about that.
If anybody else would like to join, Drew's coming with.
I plan on going.
Okay, so we'll be up front.
Got my vote.
Yeah.
You want to go? Is that what you mean?
No, I think you got my vote.
They start at noon, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I double checked with Tim Shorn, and they start at noon at New Hearth.
You get a meal though.
What's that?
They'll give you a meal.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's usually a pretty good meal.
Oh, yeah. Yep. mean, we'll talk about the jail project coming up, comprehensive plan. There's not a lot to update them on. I prefer they ask questions and we answer. That seems to be better than, at least I enjoy that more than just talking for a half hour. And
yeah, well, we address their interests better that way.
Well, I think so.
Yeah, but having some good seed, having current things that are going on, that can be good seed to spur more discussion.
Yep. So if nobody has anything else, we're to the end.
Move to adjourn.
Briefly,
Oh.
litigation.
Oh, okay. We have to go to an executive session
Okay.
for litigation.
Back when you get it. We got to have Laura make a copy for our file, so
Okay,
I'll come back up again.
okay.
Thank you.
What's John up to?
Did you?
Assignment of the ditch board, who got the bid for the ditch?
Oh,
Tim Gregmeyer.
Yeah.
yeah.
You gonna call him?
Huh?
You gonna call him?
No, I'm good. Oh, yeah.
Can you shut the door? So I'll take
Thanks,
a motion.
John.
Take a motion to go into executive session.
Moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second, and this is for legal. Roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Packard,
Yes.
Mochler.
Yes, we're in executive session.
For Lex.
In regular session, Jay?
Yes.
Okay. We good? Okay, take a motion to come out of executive session.
Move to come out of executive session, please.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Packard,
Yes.
Mochler.
Yes, we're in regular session.
And this is just a housekeeping scheduling thing. I talked to Annie yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Scheduling our meeting, and I'll be out of town. I told her that. I wanted to visit with her personally about that. I told her that I could probably zoom in. If we're going to have a meeting here in this room, it could be that we could set it up so that I could zoom in on that meeting. Whenever it ends up being, there's still a little question about.
Yes, and I think our judge might have had, so this is for everybody else, this is JDAI stuff. I think that you might not be the only one with a conflict. I think they were working on that, and I was under the impression that she was going to do Zoom for everyone.
Okay.
So
She wasn't sure at that time.
oh,
that it could.
okay.
She likes to have initial meetings in person, so everybody gets to
Face
have
to face.
a face and get to know each other a little better.
Makes sense.
But in my case, I can't. I'll be in Arizona.
You'll be good. And
Yeah.
Samantha can work on that too. She's going to be the representative for our office on that. So I'm sure she could Zoom you.
Yeah,
into
whatever
if we
works.
need to.
If I can zoom in, that's great. If I can't make the meeting, Annie promised to keep me up to speed.
Perfect.
So we'll be fine, whichever way it goes. But,
Perfect. Well, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Good stuff. All right.
The only other thing I have is district meeting next Wednesday, correct, Gary?
Yes.
I won't be here.
I won't be here. And I wish I were, because I'd love to ask the Lincoln County folks, especially about their special appropriation bill to fund their jail. How they thought that would work and it didn't, and how it might be that another run could make it work, but the money will be all gone.
So what time does it start? 11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and lunch at noon.
So you want somebody there to help you? Anything before?
Sure. If somebody wants to do the greeting and,
And where is that?
At the new event center in Pizza Ranch.
Yep.
Yeah.
If nobody has anything else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hammond,
Yes.
Manning.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Packard,
Yes.
Mochler.
Yes, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, for the second time ever, I brought a coffee.
I like it.